When the Republicans got in trouble, what did they do? They put their DNC chair was a state party chair. Reince Priebus was the chair of the Wisconsin Democratic Party. That's what we've got to do. And so much of the conversations at these forums, it sounds like we're in some sort of a debate for the presidency or who's going to be in the driver's seat of the car. Listen, what we need is a mechanic that can get under the hood and fix the damn car. And that's what I've been able to do in New Hampshire. The moral of our challenge of our party is the hopelessness. It's really the fact that we are not talking to them and giving them any hope. Running a damn TV ad is not giving anybody a hope. But having a neighbor coming and talking to them and saying, here's what the Democrats have done for you. You know what? You're actually on Obamacare. You might not know that because we call it a different thing, but you're on Obamacare. You know what? The other programs that you're all benefiting from, that's from the Democrats. We have to have those sorts of conversations one-on-one. And that's how we're going to win back, not just the white working class, but we're going to rise up the African American voters and the Latino voters, the Asian voters, all of the voters. Once we have a reconnection, we spent over $1 billion on TV ads, and we spent a teensy bit, less than 1% of that, on the ground organization. That is the wrong priorities for this party. We have got to turn that around. We have the money. Last week we were asked that question at another forum. What are you going to do? How are you going to pay all of that? And I said, that's just a bullshit question, because we have more than enough money. If we got enough money to send billions of dollars to corporate media, we've got enough money to organize every single community in this state,
all right,
in this country.
Hey everyone, this is Nomiki Konst, and we actually have a party leader here. One of the candidates for DNC chair, Ray Buckley, is the chair of the New Hampshire Democratic Party. Nice to see you, Ray.
Nice to be here.
We were talking about before we came on that New Hampshire's a very unique state. For those who were not following the primary, New Hampshire is more open. They're free-thinking kind of folks in New Hampshire, and you had a great primary. You had some amazing turnout. What's the secret in New Hampshire to reaching Democrats?
Well, I think the most important thing is that the electorate knows that their responsibility is to participate, and that's why we have such a massive turnout in the primary, highest in the country of any state for a primary or a caucus. The people in New Hampshire are really very engaged and involved in that. The fact that independents can participate, we have same-day voter registration. So you wake up on primary day at noon, and you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to go, vote for Bernie or vote for Hillary. You simply go down with your ID and you can register and you get to vote. We're very proud of that because it really makes it open to all. It also makes polling really difficult when you just never know exactly who is going to turn out. And it allows for candidates that simply wouldn't have been able to be launched in other states to be launched, whether it was Bernie this time, or Jimmy Carter a generation ago, Bill Clinton in '92. You can go on, and then on the Republican side as well. So the important thing about the New Hampshire primary is nobody checks your ID at the door when it goes to a town hall meeting, or the candidates are always all throughout, and people should feel very welcome to coming up and hanging out, and they'll probably start coming in a couple weeks.
Talking about the Democratic Party, the national level, there are some issues, and I was watching in the panel today, and you talked about how there's different rules in different states. How would you get these other states that may not be as ahead as New Hampshire is? Say a state like New York. I live in New York now. Very, very early voter registration. One of the most closed primaries in the country for presidential primaries. Very hard to run to be DNC member. How would you talk to New York and say, it's in your interest to move forward and be more inclusive?
Well, I think that we do need to have those conversations. I think right now the higher priority is to take all of the states that have the caucuses, because I think that this nominating process really exposed the challenge. What we need to do is have some uniformity of how these caucuses are operated. Who gets to participate in them? How are they conducted? One state, you just simply go in and vote and you're out in 10 minutes. Another state, these are all still called caucuses, you're there for the entire day. Some states, how your vote is reflected in the final product of what the delegation. Another state has nothing to do what's going to end up what the delegation looks like, because you're going through 3 or 4 processes that can change dramatically depending on who shows up at these other various intervals. So bringing that together so that when somebody's reading a story or a reporter covering it, that they can understand, oh, that's what happened in this state right next door. So that's what a caucus will be for me. We really got to take a look at that and find ways to further encourage people to participate in the caucuses as well, to have more and more voices heard. It is important that when we have a nominee, as many people as possible have participated in that nominating process, so their voices are heard and that those voices are reflected. That's why we need to reform the superdelegate system and so much more.
How long have you been chair?
I've been chair for 10 years, the longest serving state chair in New Hampshire history.
So you've seen the party change several times. I mean, if we're going back to Carter, there was some changes that happened after Carter. There was the New Democrats sort of emerged, the blue dog kind of theory and mentality. I've heard a couple Democrats, not all chairs, but members talk about it's not the blue dogs versus the progressives anymore. It's the corporate side versus the 99%. Oh wow! I'm just bringing it out. I mean, these aren't even my words. But I think what's interesting is these phases happen, and you've seen this all happen for a long time. Where do you think the Democrats lost their way? Because $70 million on ads. I mean, in one state blows my mind.
We lost our way when people started becoming very wealthy by being involved in the Democratic Party. We are making a lot of consultants millionaires in every cycle, and they get hired no matter if they win or lose. And that is not a culture that exists anywhere else. That it doesn't matter if you are still going to make a couple of $1 million, whether all of your candidates win or if all your candidates lose. That makes no sense to me. And nobody is held accountable. There's no transparency to it. It is a culture that exists, and when you say corporate, you might mean just corporate. I think of Washington as a corporate. They are interconnected. They suggest if you want to be targeted, that you've got to hire this, and that person. And oh God, yeah, they're all my friends. And oh yeah, when I leave working for this committee in 2 years, I'm going to go work with them, and I'm going to get a big bonus. I mean, we have got to shake that up. And now that makes my chances of winning tougher.
Oh, you just stole my next question.
Because as you noticed, I don't have a lot of the DC folks supporting me because I absolutely believe we need to unplug that money train to them. We need to start winning. I am, and I believe the vast majority of members of the DNC, the vast majority of Democratic activists are in politics for one reason and one reason only, and that is to make a difference and to make people's lives better. And so when we don't win, we're not making anyone's life any better. So we have failed. Other people are involved because they have a really nice life. It never should be. When I go to schools and they say, what's the difference between Democrats and Republicans? I said, it's very simple. When a Republican looks at a situation, it's how does it affect me? And when a Democrat looks at the situation, how does it affect we? Well, there's too many people still in our party that think, what about me? And we need to make people understand that, yes, it's important to be paid what you're worth, but no more.
You've got this amazing pamphlet here that goes through all of your ideas in detail. Some of them pretty unconventional.
Yes.
DNC must have conflict of interest clause for contracts and hiring. What about if you're a member?
Well,
that's
that's
later.
the conflict of interest.
Yep.
If you are a member, you should not be doing business with the party.
There's a lot of that, isn't there?
Yes.
Would you be in favor of bringing back the ban of lobbyists?
Well, how I answered that is because what my reform is that the DNC chair should not be making unilateral decisions. So my belief is that the executive committee of the DNC, which represents people from every corner of the country and all walks of life, are on that executive committee. It's over 40 members. They should be setting those sorts of policies. If I had my druthers, I'd probably say, no, I don't think that we should be doing that, and that we need to find innovative ways of doing it. But I want that to be a discussion that everyone is part of. I want that the discussion about the debate schedule to be part of the executive committee. I want the officers of the DNC to be able to have a voice in the governance of the party. I know a lot of people gasped today when I announced that I've been a vice chair of the DNC for the last 8 years, and I have no more idea what the budget of the DNC or the spending habits of the DNC is than anybody else in this bar.